and welcome to LifeTalk with Mariette. I'm your host, Mariette Gamer. For a season, not forever, the quiet truth about life's temporary connections is our topic tonight. Back in 1993, someone said something to me that I never forgot. We only walk part of the road together. That's what he said. And we had just met. At that time, I didn't want to hear that. I wanted forever. I wanted certainty. I wanted to believe that if something was real, it could last. But life has a different rhythm. So tonight I want to talk about seasons, the people who walk beside us, what they shape in us, and why not everything is meant to stay. Not for a season or for a season, not forever. So let's get started. You're tuned in to Life Talk with Marietta. I am Marietta, and the quiet truth about life's temporary connections. Why did that sentence in 1993 wound me so deeply? I tell you, because I had just opened, because I had just opened. When he said, we only walk part of the road together, I didn't hear wisdom. I heard an ending before a beginning. I heard limitations instead of possibilities. I wanted permanence, not perspective. Not that it matters to me now, but I'm asking, was he protecting himself or preparing me? At the time, I thought it was protecting himself. As a matter of fact, I don't really know, and it doesn't matter today. It really doesn't. Now I see he may have simply understood something about life that I hadn't yet accepted. That's what I think, that I didn't know about. Nothing is owned, everything is shared for a time. That was it. That portion of life I didn't experience that yet. I had never heard that. So that's what it was. I know that. Why do we crave forever at the beginning of something? Because beginnings are fragile. Forever feels like security. It quiets the fear that something beautiful might disappear. That's the thing in a nutshell. That really is. So when did I begin to understand that nothing is permanent? Through experience, through endings, through watching people leave and watching myself change. Life itself taught me. That's very hard in itself. All the different phases and episodes and this and that and how painful this all was. Remember, if you have gone through something similar, how painful, and my God, the heartache. Oh my God. And the times we spent discussing it, with the besties. Oh, and we thought we knew it all at the time, but we were discussing it to death, I'm telling you. And everybody, the more we discussed it, the more we came up with different scenarios. Oh my God, I couldn't do that today. Did that 10-year relationship fail because it ended? No, it formed me. It shaped my thinking, my emotional depth, and my self-awareness. Ending does not equal failure. Well, it takes a couple of runs to really get that and to believe that. So, and growing up, the older generation women, everything was forever. The older generation, they never got divorced. They've been together 60, 70, 80 years. They never talked about that they don't get along with their husband or wives. No, they just did other things. And the wife or the husband quieted, mostly the husband. The wife stayed quiet and tolerated things. But if you were really asking them, were they happy being together 60, 70, 80 years? I wonder. I don't want to say anything, but I wonder. So this is where it comes from, that you're being taught everything once you get married, everything is forever. No, it's not. It really, really isn't. Well, I found that out very quickly for myself. What was I looking for then that I don't look for now? I'm asking myself. Then I looked for completion, and I didn't even know that I was looking for completion. Now I look for alignment. I no longer need someone to stabilize me. I want someone who walks beside me. If I want somebody, he would have to walk beside me. And that I never had in my life. And that has something to do with not the opposite, has something to do with me and what I had to do in life and how I had to get to know me and all the inherited belief system and behavior system. I had to work through all of that. I'm very confident today that the person, if there was a person who would walk beside me, I really believe that. Now, do I measure relationships by duration instead of impact? To tell you the truth, I don't even think about it. But I wanted to do this show because Valentine's Day came up. It was yesterday. Yesterday was the 14th. Today's Sunday, the 15th. And I made some calls to some people that are very dear to me, business partners, and people that are very dear to me. So, but it doesn't have to be the roses and the chocolates and oh my God, no. So, how would I answer if I measured relationships by duration instead of impact? Well, often, but length does not equal depth. Some short seasons transform us. Some long ones keep us stagnant. Thinking back to all of these years, I am very happy that I experienced I encountered many, many situations. And I'm very grateful for them because there were moments of happiness. They were tiny little moments of happiness. I thought about this last night during the night instead of sleeping because my cat, Mona, keeps me up, or she wakes up and then there's no sleep for 2, 3 hours and then she goes back and I can go back to sleep. So I think about a lot of things. And I was revisiting some of the times. They were just, even though they were non-productive times, I say that now, there were times of anticipation. Who could we meet? Who could we fall in love with? Did we have a good time dancing? Did we look terrific? Oh my God. It was an exciting time for the time. And I want to honor those times. I never thought of it that way. But those were really tiny little glimpses of happiness. So they're coming into my portfolio. Those tiny little glimpses of happiness. Yes, you have a place now. So, where some people mirror rather than partners. Yes, some reflect my insecurity, some my ambition, some my impatience. Once the reflection becomes clear, the season often shifts. Huh, that, uh, what am I going to say? When you're younger, you do this, you have a certain um, ideal in mind, what you want to do, and this and that. You're not really serious about it, but you're having fun. You're young, you're beautiful. You just think about life differently. At least I did. My mind was not on business. My mind was not on personal growth. Absolutely not. I'm glad I got that all over with when I was, at that age, because much later in life, my focus became business and I became serious about me. So, yes, some reflected my insecurity. That's right. So, yeah, once the reflection becomes clear, the season often shifts. That came much later in life. I would have never admitted that, you know? Why does age change how we interpret endings? I think time gives us perspective. What once felt like rejection later looks like redirection. I think it took me quite a while to understand that I have choices. I didn't know till much later in life that nothing is forever, till I was in my 40s. Now that's late in life, when you're in your 40s, and that I have choices. And what do I mean by choices? I didn't know that I controlled whether I feel happy or whether I want to feel sad. So, and it just always seemed that when I was in love, I either loved too much or too little. It was a constant change in the waters. I don't really know what to say in regards to that. It was just what it was. I like to keep it at that. Have I ever stayed longer than I should have? Yes, out of hope, out of loyalty, out of fear of the unknown. That doesn't apply to me. Out of fear of the unknown. Absolutely not. I have never stayed longer than I should have. No, maybe just a touch. But as soon as something didn't work out and we saw the writing, I didn't hang in there. Absolutely not. Because I wasn't married. I had relationships, yes. And when things didn't work, you know that right in the beginning. And both people really felt that way. Why stay together? If you just feel it and you just have to be honest with yourself. And I think I was always honest with myself, but I never hung on to something out of fear. No, that's incorrect. It might apply to a lot of people, but that didn't apply to me. Um, but I had high hopes. Why do we look for love? Because we have high hopes. We always, okay, we've been burned, so we always try to, okay, let's get back in the saddle. It was it was because of my thinking when I was younger. It was easy for me to do that then, or easier, not easy, but easier. Today, I wouldn't even entertain that. It's too much effort. It's too much energy to start from scratch. Having to trust somebody again, having to size somebody again. Oh, can I trust? Can I not trust? No, I rather do something different. So, but I tell you something, my intuition has become extremely well trained. And I just have to listen to my intuition. My intuition knows exactly, and my body knows exactly when I'm in a situation when I don't know. I just have to listen to the body and my intuition. So, what is harder, being left or outgrowing someone? Okay. Outgrowing someone requires courage. It means acknowledging change and acting on it. Well, I don't think I've ever outgrew anybody. I don't think so. I was never with someone that long. Um, and when you with somebody, let's say 13, 14 years, by that, you know much sooner. Okay, this person, it's not going to work. We're not going to reach our goals because one doesn't have goals, doesn't understand goals, doesn't care about goals. And the other one just wants to, you just know it. And you just have to find the right time to say, let's part where it's mutual and where you really mean it. Because you started saying, let's part a long time ago, but you really didn't mean it. After 2 weeks, you got back together, if you know what I'm saying. We all went through this. It's all part of the journey. Why do endings feel like rejection? Because we personalize change, but often it is not about worth, it's about evolution. Well, they should they should put this all in the marriage vows and all of this. Where do we have a marriage booklet to put all of this in? I think we should really write this. Um, Endings do feel like rejection a little bit. For whatever reason, you believed in that person, they would go a distance. Or you believed you can go a distance, but you couldn't, or they couldn't. And just when you least expect it, it happens to you. Or then your ego comes out. Well, If we end this, I want it to be me. Then, the ego comes out. That never happened with me. But I'm telling you, the ending still feels a little bit like rejection. And way, 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 way before I didn't even know anything about it, it certainly felt rejection. Yes, it did. That was when I was in my teens. So, because we weren't educated at that time. Yeah. You just took the belief system from the parents. Oh, everything will be wonderful and you just have to find the right person and you get married and everything is forever. Well, it's not. What remains when someone exits your life? I tell you, the imprint, the lessons, the growth, the version of myself that emerged. I think everybody or most people that we meet, or a good percentage, if I had to put it into a percentage, I would like to say maybe at least 50%, if that. Let's say 40% to be safe. And I believe that. Yes, 40%. Um, there have been remains and an imprint. One person may have said, I believe in you. You're a high earner. You have a high earning capacity. You are that type of person, even though you weren't there yet. But that person saw something in you that you weren't even close yet, but you became it. You became that person over time. So, um, I remember someone leaving an imprint saying, Marietta, you always start something you never finish. Now, we're talking about 35 years ago. And that statement was so correct. It was so correct. It was so hurtful. That's exactly what it was at that time, 35 years ago. And the lesson was from that point on, or after that relationship, there has never been anything that I didn't complete, ever. And that was my lesson. That was my growth. I'm very proud of it. It was captured, it was experienced with such great pain, such great pain. But the person was absolutely right. But that was my lesson. And that's when the version of myself had emerged. I do not accept anything. When I start something, I finish it. And I will not accept that from others if they have that pattern. I can't work with a person like that. I can't, because that was something that was very, very deep inside of me. And you can be very creative. You can be spending a lot of money on education. If you don't have that cleaned up, that department, that when you start something, you expect of yourself to see a result, whatever it is, negative or positive. That's it. So holding yourself accountable for your action, that's what it means. I got that. But that was a big, big lesson, big life lesson. We didn't make it as marriage partners, but as a teacher, from a teacher to a student. And we didn't know that because on the surface, we came together to have a relationship and a marriage and everything. And there was love involved, absolutely. But that didn't work out. But the lesson worked out. Can something be sacred and still temporary? Yes. Meaning does not require permanence. So true. Think about people that you have met on an airplane, have had a great conversation, or at an airport, or at a grocery store, or at a local park, wherever it may have been. It was a short exchange. It was temporary, but it had deep meaning. It's how the person said something, what they shared with you. Something that deeply moved you? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I thought about a lot of moments last night. Again, I couldn't sleep. I didn't sleep. My mind was wide awake. I was laying in bed and I visited a lot of situations. Happy, I was, very upbeat and um, try that sometimes and see how you feel when you revisit some of these situations, some of the times that you went through, and see how you feel, and then capture the happiness from it or out of it. That's what I did. And I loved it. I really did. They were just little flimmers, glimmers, whatever you call it, of happiness. I'll take it. I'll take it because entire life is not full of happiness, just moments in time where we're happy. I didn't know that either. I thought we were supposed to be happy all the time till I read books about, oh, being happy and this. And I read one book. I said, no, no, that's not for me. Why do we fight impermanence? Because it reminds us we cannot control time. Okay, let me leave it at that. Now, here it comes. What did the sentence from 1993 ultimately teach me? Not at the time. We were together 10 years, and it wasn't till afterwards where I thought about a lot of things. And I totally believe today that we only go together with various people for a certain amount of time. Now that applies on a um, personal level as well as business. We just don't know when somebody will say, that's it. They vow, they do this, they do that, they sign contracts, they do the. No, we don't know. We don't know when the lights go out with these people. If they were influenced, if they don't have enough energy, if they got out of the situation what they wanted to get out of, or they just lost interest. We just don't know that. So, life, I learned, is shared, not owned. People walk with us as far as they can. That's a little scary when you say people walk with us as far as they can. Holy moly. When you first meet a person and you fall in love and you're going to say to yourself, oh, I wonder how long that person will be around. You just don't have these thoughts. And it's really true because we don't know if that person, will have a short life. If the person just loses interest, we just don't know that. I just don't want to think about it. Let me to tell you, because it scares me to fall in love again. Because I've never talked myself out of something. Well, I do. I have done that. So, correction, I have done that in other areas. But I just don't want to ask myself that. But I just want in the background, in the back of our minds, I want that there. So we're not surprised. We know about it, but we push it way back. That's how I like to deal with it myself. And it could work for me that way. I know about it. It's in the back of my archive. And when something happens, the shock won't be as deep. It will still hurt as anything, but the shock won't be as deep. Did I grow because of endings? Yes. Endings force reflection. Reflection creates maturity. I reflected for years, my friends. 4 years I reflected over and over, back and forth, up and down. My good friend Arnold said, Marietta, you will read that book over and over again until you are satisfied, and then you can put the book down. And I said, what the heck is he talking about, a book? um, he had a certain way to express himself, and he's absolutely right. We visit the situation time over again and again and again and look at it from a different angle, and we're happy that we come up with different angles. Are you kidding me? Oh, this is something new to think about. Oh, I did, yeah, that could be it, and this, that. And one morning I never forget that. One morning I looked in the mirror. This was back in the 90s, and I said to myself, Marietta, you're a bad loser. You don't like to lose. I didn't know about that part of me. I didn't know that. I said, that is interesting. You don't like to lose. And it's true. Today I can do 2 to 3 talk shows on it. I don't like to lose. I like to win. But that's something I learned about myself, reflecting over years. I tell you, I was in grief for 15 years. I was grieving for 15 years. Very, very, and it really affected my life too. Um, it affected my mind, my body. I got very heavy. I found peace. So I thought in food. I'm an emotional eater. So, and I stayed heavy for 20 years, over 20 years. And then I remember I started shows. I started shows about health and different healthier eating, this, that, and the other. So, and it took years for me to undo the past, but I got to it. I got to it. My body reacted by shielding me with food and also emotional shielding. I remember that. And how I did it, I personally created these situations where we spoke a certain language about food, emotional eating, weight loss, and so forth. Because when you're stuck, it just doesn't come overnight. It takes years, and sometimes you can't even you can't conquer it. So it was not a pretty time for me looking back, but I conquered it over time, and I gave myself time too. Time with everything, and I concentrated on accomplishments, building my businesses, and so forth. And what I enjoy the most was a new part that I started in 2006, which was television and radio. And that's something I really, really, it's been over 20 years. I really, really enjoy. I created a voice for myself to convey interest and knowledge with other professionals. So yes, that sentence from 1993, nothing is forever. And if somehow I wrap this sentence around my thinking and my being, and it's okay, it has a place in my mind and in my life. But I'm telling you, when people you care about, that doesn't necessarily have to be a personal relationship, but also a business relationship. Because in business, I share my thoughts, my ideas, my time with other professionals, and you become close to these professionals because that's just the way it is. And then from time to time, you meet somebody that just exits quietly because their time is up and they don't want to tell you. And then you see tiny little signs of, oh no, this is not, they're not busy, or somebody's not sick because their behavior is just shifting. They think you might not know it, or maybe they don't really care, but that's okay too. I notice all of that. So I can thank them today very nicely for the time we spent together. And not being mad, oh, you should have, and this, that. No, 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 no. The time was very valuable. I appreciate our time. And I appreciate what you are doing. for society, but I can move on. And that's good. That's really good. That I am that way. But I have to tell you, from person to person, it's different. Some stings a little more than others. I just want to tell you, it's not that you, oh yeah, okay. No, no, no. You don't become callous. It still stings, but it's so you can deal with it in a much better way. And yes, I grew because of the endings. I told you that already. And reflection is everything for me. Reflection, reflection, reflection. Do we appreciate people more when we stop demanding forever? Well, first of all, I don't demand forever. I just not demand, but I'm just hoping for a little path, little journey together. But I never demand. Who came up with this? I never demand forever. So that's nonsense. Do we appreciate people more when we stop demanding forever? I don't think that way. So throw this one out. I don't know if you do. You change that. If you're like that, I don't do that in business, and I wouldn't. Let me think about it now. On a personal level, I don't know how to answer that. Demanding. I don't like the word demand. And hoping, that's too weak. On a personal level, I don't know how to answer them. On a business level, I never demand. So I ask and I get. And some goes a little longer. I have been working with people for 7, 8 years, a wonderful doctor, MD, PhD, author of 10 books. That's Dr. Chris Gilbert. I love her very dearly. She's out in California. She does a lot of traveling with her husband. Her husband is a neuroscientist. They go all over the world. And Dr. Chris is originally from France. You will see her you can see some of the shows on YouTube as well. And you have seen shows on television, but just if you haven't caught it on television, it's on our YouTube channel. A fantastic person. Now she's so busy. She writes for Psychology Today. Now she's really busy. She doesn't have to do this, but she believes in what we're doing. She believes in being part of this. She loves being part of this. And we have a mutual admiration. And that's rare. So yes, Dr. Chris Gilbert, you are a rare breed too. And I want to thank you very, very much. What if the real goal was formation, not forever? Well, ask yourself when you meet somebody, okay, what's the real goal here? Formation or not forever? I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Toss it out. I don't like this. I don't like it. Next, on to the next one. What is the difference between holding on and honoring? Holding on resists change. Honoring says, thank you for walking with me this far. And you know what? Let me tell you right now. I held on for 15 years. I told you I went through the grief period. I held on. I held on. And I looked at it from every which angle. And if I ran out of angles, I created. That was important to me. When I put that person on the pedestal and started honoring them, something shifted. Now, whether that person deserved to be honored, I have to tell you no. That person in real life never did anything for me. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But in my internal world, in my illusion world, he was everything. Again, I'm not talking badly about this situation. I'm glad I met the person, very glad. I understand it was not for husband and wife. It was a teaching moment. It was a teaching moment. And 15 years afterwards, I wanted to keep this alive. And again, I would have never, if you had mentioned the word illusion, or Marietta, you're illusional, I would have gotten really mad, but it's true. But it didn't, something shifted when I put a pedestal, a mental, emotional pedestal in for that person. And I honored him. It's true. And I was able to let go of it. It's just like a gravestone. That's exactly what it is, a gravestone. I don't want to call it a gravestone. No, but that's what it is. That's how it felt. Meaning a pedestal. And there were things that I really admired in the person. I really mean that. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I do whatever works and comes natural. I don't think about, oh, I need to do this because no, 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 no. What comes natural, allow it. What feels right, allow it. That's what I did. So, and I said, thank you for walking with me thus far. This has been a long time now, 32 years. But isn't it something how all these pivotal moments, they just feel like they just happened yesterday. I think everybody feels like that. Now, let's talk about transition. This isn't only about love, it's about leadership, about the people I guide, build, and walk beside as they move toward their goal. Now, my work is really about getting you to your goals. That's what my work is all about for over 25 years. So many people have skills and talents and don't have the belief that they can really earn a living with it. I have that belief. I have the track record. I've done it for 43 years. The start can be very, very hard, especially when you don't have a mentor, and I didn't have a mentor. So everybody has to pay dues. People go to school, to college. I call that you have to pay your dues, and you still don't have the experience. So, leadership, coaching, and professional intimacy. That's what I'm going to talk about. It's a professional intimacy because when you come to my office, when you and I talk, I get to know you very intimately. And what I mean by that, I get to know how you think. That to me is intimacy. That's what I mean by that. I get to know how you feel about things. That to me is intimacy. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about professional intimacy. So, and why is guiding someone toward their goal so intimate? Question. Because you step into their ambition, their insecurity, their uncertainty. You help design the path and walk it alongside them. And how true that is. I have had wonderful clients, doctors, PhDs, everything. And one was even an author. One wanted to give, after they wrote their book, they wanted to go on tours. I created marketing tours for them. And very quickly, I saw how they could not present themselves. They could not speak professionally. They didn't look the part. So that particular journey, I get to know you very intimately. So what am I really giving when I coach someone? I give my experience, my strategic thinking, my belief in their potential. And I have to have belief in their potential. Otherwise, I can't take you on as a client. I can't. Um, and belief can change someone's journey, everything. Remember how it made us feel when we have people that believe in us, whether it was a teacher, it was a grandmother or grandfather, or a parent, or a friend. How that felt? I remember this particular gentleman. He was a big time real estate developer. And he said, Mariette, you have the potential of earning 250K a year. Now, I wasn't anywhere near it. I was still an employee at that time. That was in the 80s. And I didn't believe it because I wasn't in situations where I could even earn that, nor did I have the mental structure or the experience. And I have to tell you, I ended my financial, I was an employee in the finance, in accounting management. And when I ended that journey and I went into the insurance, investment, and mortgage business, and I stayed in that business for 18 years and I learned and I learned and I learned. I became a six-figure earner to make out of nothing something. There you go. There you go. And once you have that knowledge and those accomplishments, they will always stay with you. You can always look at other avenues to get better and better. And especially in the intangible arena. It was incredible. It was really, really incredible. So I have to say that person was right. Whatever he saw, and he wasn't kidding. He was dead serious. He saw something that I didn't even see. I wasn't aware of. How could I be? Do I get attached to that journey? And we're talking about me helping you as a client. Yes, I get very much emotionally attached to the journey together. When someone grows under your guidance, you feel part of their transformation. That's so true. You're part of it. And I have learned there's a small percentage of people, well, once they invest the money, that they also stick with it. What I have experienced, especially with married couples, one wanted to go ahead with a journey, and they had problems with the partner over time. They did not have the partner backing them, or somebody else talked them out of it. Oh, what do you want to do? Or the partner all of a sudden saw, oh, they're really happy coming home. They learned something. And how does it make me feel? I'm left out. Huh. For myself, I never had a partner. All of this journey, on this journey, all these years, on my own. The only one I could have talked, it would have been me talking myself out of it. And I never did. Not once have I thought, oh, I got to quit because this is getting too hard and me dealing with other things, it's too hard. No, I did it. I adjusted my lifestyle. I said, this journey is very tough. It's tough. So, but I stuck to it. And during COVID, I had a lot of time to think about things. You cannot get rich on coaching too many clients because they won't stick to it. People, I tell you what, people love quick fixes. They pay thousands and thousands of dollars to go to a weekend seminar or to a week seminar or whatever seminars there are out there. And they feel fantastic. They buy CDs, they buy this, they buy who knows, everything. There's a small percentage that carries anything through. That's it. And I said to myself, why did I pick this? Why did I pick? I tell you why. You don't know why, but I like to tell you why. I would have never quit my financial profession after 18 years. And I didn't quit it. It didn't quit. Life happened. I had a stroke. I had to learn to walk again. And after I had my mobility to walk again and recovered from a stroke, it took me about 6 months, 9 months almost. And I started in my profession again. And, nothing worked anymore. I put the same amount of time in. I still had love for the profession. Nothing worked anymore. It was like somebody laid higher up, and I believe in higher up. I believe in God, laid a new track for me, and I didn't realize that. So, and I almost want to say that I am glad for the experience. Through the stroke, I needed to learn how it feels when you're weak and you depend on other people to help you go to the bathroom, go walking, any aid. That not everybody can be strong all the time. Not everybody are motors. Not everybody can move and shake. Not everybody wants to move and shake. Not everybody has the mental and the physical power to shake. It takes energy and it takes execution. But I could never understand why people were not doing what they're doing. I had women come applying for part-time positions in my office. I remember that. And they had to ask their husbands if they could work. Now that does it for me. If you as a woman have to ask your husband if you can work, I never understood that. It is all about for a season, not forever. The quiet truth about life's temporary connections is our topic. Yes, and we're just addressing the professional side of it. So I was mentioning before the break that I get very much involved as a coach in your path because I put in my experience, my strategic thinking, my belief in your potential, and the belief can really change your life. So, and I do get attached to the journey. But as I was saying, too many people get sidetracked. When you work with a coach, it's a different story, but you still get sidetracked. That's what I'm here for. And most of my experience with people, why they wanted to give up because they had problems with the partner. Partner starts acting up, is not 200% behind them, nothing. Feels left out. I see this over and over. It's nothing new. I see it over and over again. So, next question, is professional intimacy acknowledged enough? No. We pretend business is detached, but building something with someone is deeply personal. When I build shows, and especially with professionals that have a certain knowledge, whether it's the animal business that I'm learning so much about, various businesses, I get very, very much involved in creating the shows and that they shine and that they come out very well and that this is all done in a very optimal way for both of us. I get very much involved. I don't just put them in front of the microphone and say, okay, here, you talk. Everything is designed. It may sound easy or it might hear like it's been easy or just, not at all. Everything is designed by design. So what happens when their journey moves beyond me? Well, there's pride and sometimes a quiet ache. The walking together has shifted. It's not a good feeling. Because I tell you, people pay a good amount of money to be coached, and this is a long term. This is a long term journey for a minimum of 12 months, a minimum. There's also 6 months, and you can learn various components. But what you don't know is how to put these components together. How do they fit in my life right now? And this, you wouldn't know that. It took me years to learn that, to educate myself. So I always say people should put and invest money in communication and how they communicate with the outside world, how they communicate all the way around. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, you can talk. That's enough. No, it's not. It's always about selling yourself. That's what it is. So, what is the true goal of leadership? Independence, not dependence. If someone no longer needs you in the same way, you can succeed it. No, 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 no. When you have gone the distance, yes. When you break it up during the on the path, that's wrong. You're going to start complaining, you pay too much money, you didn't get anything, it's your fault. What are you talking about? Do not let anybody get in your way. I don't care who it is, the husband, the wife, the boyfriend, the girlfriend. I don't care who it is. It's your life. You got to go for it. Again, nothing is forever. Invest in yourself. Invest in knowledge, in skills and talents. That will be your surviving tools that you need. You just don't know when you need it. I know what I'm talking about. Does everything eventually end? Yes. Project end. Partnerships end. Roles end. Even versions of ourselves evolve. Really? Versions of ourselves. I got to think about that one. Versions of ourselves. Version of, well, maybe it's another show, but yes, projects end, partnerships end, roles end. That's clear to me. I can, uh, I have lots of experience with that. And some of it really ended great. Some of it we didn't even want to end. And some of it ended, so. And, it all had uh, different flavors, if you will. But yes, they do end. It's so true. Everything ends. So I recall maybe a month ago, I did a wonderful project, The Rare Breed, which it's right on YouTube. You will see the show. It's in German, because my guests are from Germany and they're wonderful. They're 79, 77, 75, 69, and 68. So, and all of us are rare breeds. So, and we weren't bragging. We were just sharing our lives and what we're up to. So we're still, knock on wood, health-wise, we're okay. And we like to experience still as much as possible. So that's what the show was all about. And you might want to listen to it. Anyway, so I have lots more, but you know, we're out of time. So one more. What is the difference between attachment and love? That's a nice one. Okay. Attachment clings, love participates. Okay. All right. Let's leave it at that. So as we close tonight, I want to leave you with this thought. Not everything in life is meant to last forever, but that doesn't make it disposable. It makes it meaningful. Every person who walks beside us in love, in friendship, in business, in mentorship is part of a season, sorry, that shapes us in some way. Some give us confidence, some give us courage, some hold up a mirror, some help us find our footing until we can walk on our own. And when that season ends, it doesn't erase what was built. It means the journey did its job. So instead of asking, why didn't this last? Maybe the better question is, why did this form? What did this form in me? Okay. Because we don't walk the whole road with everyone. But how we walk and what we carry forward matters. Okay. For a season, not forever. Thank you for walking this part of the road with me tonight. I'm Mariette. Till next time.